Hello, Black Hills and everybody. Happy 4th of July. I usually don't do intros, and I usually don't use my phone. I'm kind of against it. For this episode, it is with Mission 22 and South Dakota National Guard. It is a really good episode on the war against veteran suicide. I had some problems with the cameras. There was 3 guests, which I usually don't have. The beginning of the episode is... I was going to delete some of it out, but it's got some good information in it. But please, watch this episode. It's got some great stories in it and what these guys are going through and how to get help. If you are going through PTSD or depression, have been affected by suicide, share this. Have a happy 4th of July. Be safe. Call a lift. Don't get blown up by fireworks. Thanks for supporting Black Hills Podcast, everybody. Enjoy this episode, and thanks to our guests for coming on. Have a good one.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Hello, thank you for having us.
All you fellas here. We have Chris Cooper
Hello.
with Mission 22 and Mr. Chad Mercy
Hello.
with the
South Dakota National Guard.
South Dakota National Guard. And
Tucker Watsonville with both Mission 22 and the South Dakota National Guard.
that's what kind of things are Mission 22 doing around here? Is it all South Dakota or is it just Rapid City?
It's nationwide. I'm the state leader for South Dakota. Most of the things that we do are on the western side because unfortunately I don't have any ambassadors on the eastern side of the state yet. Still working on that. But we do a lot of different events. We got Starbucks that we do at Alex Johnson and Mount Rushmore Road. God, it took me a second to forget where I was going. The Alex Johnson Starbucks and Mount Rushmore Road Starbucks. We do the first and third Fridays of the month at those locations from 5:30 to 7:30. Have coffee, have drinks, some snacks, chat with veterans about pretty much anything and everything. Kind of gives people a different place to go other than just a bar where that's where a lot of the veterans will go is to like the VFW or the Legion or just whatever bar they're near. Kind of gives those who don't drink a place to go to kind of share their stories and experiences and stuff with people. And then our biggest event that we have coming up is in August, on the 22nd of August. It's the 5th annual Mission 22K Heroes Hike in the Hills. This year it's a 22K, but this year we're adding a 22-mile to it as well. And people can either bike it, run it, or hike it. So it's going to be an awesome hike. And it's one of those where people, they don't have to do the whole thing. They can do whatever they can do. So if they can go half a mile, they go half a mile. 3 miles, whatever. It doesn't matter.
I heard you two were talking.
We were talking actually through Tucker. So Tucker had mentioned because he's working with Chris. So he brought some things up to me and some different opportunities. So I didn't know a whole lot about it before Tucker had filled me in on it. So we're currently exploring some opportunities and some some possibilities on what we can do and how we can assist and help. And that's kind of where we're at, kind of planning stages right now to figure out what and how we can help assist in any way that we can.
The South Dakota community pretty involved in this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Black Hills has been amazing.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years to really get it going because when I first started doing it, Wounded Warrior had a lot of issues, and it made a lot of people skeptical about these organizations that help veterans out.
Yeah.
And I started getting a name for myself in the area, and there's a lot of businesses that are behind us 100%. You have Jam Bones, which is in Bacon Park. You got Starbucks. All the locations of Starbucks are all amazing. Rushmore Taffy Shop in Keystone, huge supporters. The Indians, which is right next to them, huge supporters.
Nice.
Rapid City Police Department, they got a Mission 22 police car, which
Oh.
is pretty amazing. And then the Rapid City Rush, huge supporters of what we do.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
Does anybody like know anybody who actually had to use Mission 22?
We've
assistance?
had a couple people here in South Dakota that have used it. Not a whole lot. Whoa, crap!
That was a technical difficulty, everybody.
And we're back.
So when he cuts that out, and all of a sudden people are in different positions, you're like, "What the heck happened?"
Just play musical chairs.
Yeah, Chris knocked the cam over. I'm just gonna blame it on that. So anyway, where was I at?
One of the other big events that we have going on in the area right now is it's called the Black Hills Veterans Classic. So it'll be the first annual. It starts this year. It's kind of a spearhead brainchild with Post 22 and Post 320. July 16th through the 19th. You have to double check my dates on that. So we'll have baseball teams from all over the state coming in for a big tournament. We're going to have some representatives from the Guard out throwing the first pitch, some of the higher up leadership. We'll have Humvees down there along with booth and informational displays. So as people have questions, about the National Guard or just the military in general, we'll be down there to answer any of those questions. And then obviously, given the current world situation, people are really wanting and desperate to watch sports in some sort of capacity. So it'll be a good event for the local community to come down and watch actual baseball from people they don't normally, or teams they don't normally get to see. So it'll be from Pierre, Sioux Falls, all over. The anticipated outcome is roughly around 3,000 individuals. It's really hard to really forecast anything just given the COVID-19 situation. So
No ESPN, man. Testosterone is just building up.
it's that like people are anything. Like I was watching professional
Cornhole?
Cornhole. I didn't know that like that was a professional thing, and these dudes every throw in the hole. I was like, where were these guys at all the backyard barbecues that I'm going to?
No kidding.
There's professional cherry seed spitters competitions too. So I saw that at Jambones one day when I was eating lunch. I was like, "What in the hell?"
We're desperate. Yeah, I'm gonna be watching professional hot dog eating competitions here soon. Like whatever I can watch. I just need some sort of sporting
All the
activity.
major stuff.
Anybody gets good at something, they just start calling it a profession. They're like,
Yeah.
"This is what I do for a living,
Yeah.
man."
Cursive A's. Check it out. Like, all right.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I was sitting down, I don't know, it was a couple of weeks ago. I was down at a local establishment. I was down at Patty's. And,
The local establishment.
yeah, so I was down there having dinner. And I had my
Dinner,
son.
was it a liquid dinner?
No, actually, no. I had my son with me too, so we were down there eating and looked up, and I was like, "Oh, cool, NASCAR's on." And it didn't register with my brain at the time.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yep. So I'm sitting there, and my son's watching it too, and people are kind of looking up at the TV screen, and we're like, "Oh, cool." And then it's like, "Man, something looks weird. What is it?" So we kept watching. Well, then the car pitted. One of the cars pitted. And as it pitted, the camera broke away to the driver, who was a 16-year-old kid in his parents' basement. I'm watching virtual NASCAR, and I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know how to feel about it, because I was watching it for a good 10 minutes and couldn't tell. It's like, well, this might be where things end up eventually going, is esports.
Esports is very huge,
It's
man.
huge, and I had no idea until I became a recruiter, and then coincidentally I became a campus recruiter at School of Mines and Black Hills State University.
Yeah.
School of Mines has an esports team.
They do.
Yep. Did not know anything about it. Had no idea. And that is the military's, I'm not going to say number one recruiting platform, but it's really close because it's a captive audience. They're staring at a screen. We can put advertisements up, and that is the way of the future is technology. And it was incredible to me. So they have a practice room. They travel around. They compete against other colleges. There's scholarship opportunities.
17-year-old kid.
Won $1 million.
League of Legends,
League
yeah.
of Legends won $1 million on it. And
17. Won $1 million playing games.
And I
I've
have
never heard of any of this.
It's
before.
going to be in the Olympics coming the next.
No
not this Olympics,
kidding.
the next. Yep, it's gonna.
So-
esports going to be.
after talking
Olympics.
to the esports coach down at School of Mines and with some of the athletes, because that's what they're called. Because I don't. I'm sure I probably offended somebody. I don't know.
100%.
They are, because it's esports, and the NCAA is involved with it.
That's crazy.
And I had my own preconceived ideas of what it was all about, and I walked in, and these kids are normal, like they look like any other football players. They look like athletes, and they're just very good at
So
gaming.
since we were having Chris on the podcast talking about Mission 22, I started looking up on YouTube combat veterans with PTSD and stuff and how they were dealing with it. And I was checking it out, and some of them actually have joined the gaming world, and they're like ex-Marines and stuff that are just killing it at like gaming. And I was like, that's cool too. I saw that. It was like, damn.
Yep.
It
So
keeps you distracted.
It does.
Keeps your mind off of the things that were bothering you.
It's
if you had
also a
lots
good
of things that are
hobby.
bothering
You know,
It
it's a
is.
good
It
hobby
is.
because you get to create your own. They're like, I'm pretty sure they built their own PCs. They learned how to do that. They already knew a little bit about that. They they get engagement.
it does, and
it's a
from
community.
a former, being deployed and being in those situations, and you come home and you don't have that anymore because the environment's changed. Well, so many people around the world have had those experiences but don't know how to share them collectively. Now they can get online, connect with other individuals that have done those things, and you can develop a team again, and they can go in and they can use their skill set virtually against any other kids. They can talk remotely, build friendships, because that is my son. His friends, he's like, hey, Dad, I'm online. I'm talking to so-and-so and so-and-so. That's how their friendships are. It is a transition in how we operate in the world. What we did as kids is not how kids now operate.
It's nice too when you get sick of someone. Also, you just like
You can click a
you're
button.
out,
Yeah, absolutely.
muted.
When I was still in the Marine Corps, too, there was a lot of guys in the barracks that had built their own PCs or went out and bought a bunch of games and got a console. It's pretty common now. A lot of guys in the barracks these days, they do play a lot of video games, and it's a good time killer, especially, during a work day, you don't have a lot going on. It keeps guys from being too idle. I saw it helped a lot of my guys quite a bit, too, back then.
It does. And there's a saying in the military that, idle hands are the devil's playgrounds. Like if young soldiers don't have something to do, they will find something to do, and I can almost guarantee you it's going to be destructive.
It's almost never good.
Yeah, give them something to do. And this also, you have different mindsets within the, around the world. So if they can connect with other previous service members and they're having issues, they've built a relationship and like, hey, they can talk offline about their different experiences and, and reach out and seek help, because some people are willing to and some people are not. It just becomes, who do you become comfortable with in the relationships you build with those individuals?
Like for first responders, like police officers, firefighters, the military, the combat guys, and all that, it's a very alpha job, and you kind of have to be an alpha dude. So it is harder for a straight up alpha guy to talk about his problems too, to express himself. And that's like the big problem with all that is like they're used to being macho and stuff, and they're like, no man, like they have these problems and this anxiety and they can't sleep, and then it starts getting to them, and then they just hit that brick wall. It's
And a breaking point,
That's
absolutely.
the hardest point, is they have to like figure out how to get through to these guys, that they're not alone. Like all these alpha dudes, there's a lot of them out there that are like,
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna be a baby about it, but I need some help.
The thing about it is, when I was in, if you even gave off the thought that you were having
problem.
issues,
You get a lot of
if you're
shit
getting
for it.
depressed and things like that, they were kicking people out of the military for it.
Oh,
They're like, oh, you got PTSD, bye-bye, you're out the door.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just got in the habit of not talking about it, just letting it build up, and over years and years and years, it builds up. I mean, I used to not be able to talk about anything that I went through, and I kept it all inside. And I ended up meeting a lady one time who was a counselor, and I don't know what the hell she did, but she got me to open up and start talking, and I've been able to talk about not everything, but quite a bit of things since then, and it's definitely made it a lot easier. And that's why, like, on my Facebook, I'll share the stories about things that I've gone through and things like that to let other guys know, hey, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to have that weakness sometimes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it makes you stronger. I mean,
Absolutely.
you go through things and you see things over there that you're never supposed to see and never supposed to do. Human body and brain's not meant to go through those things. And to be able to keep going forward every day and making it through that, it's actually really damn strong. And I have people from all over the world, Australia and Norway, Sweden, Canada, and all over the United States that I keep in contact on a regular basis. We have conversations almost every single day talking about different things.
Psychiatrists say that, I mean, if you break a bone, you fix it. So if something in your head ain't right, you fix it. And that's, a lot of people still give each other shit about
They do.
things they've been through. Like, oh man, I did that too and I'm fine. But sometimes some other people aren't. They're a little more sensitive or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
They just
Everybody's
hit
got
some-
different
hit some
ways of coping with stuff like that. I mean, nobody's brain's going to be the same as the next guy. People are going to deal with things a
Yeah.
lot differently.
I had Gunnar Swanson on from NutriShop, and go find that episode and watch it. He talks about his PTSD and how he overcame it and what he did, and it is an amazing story. Went and worked with dolphins. Like, this guy, it was a really good story. We talk about his military experience. So out there, go find that NutriShop episode. Check that out. It's really good.
Yeah, luckily for like the military community, now that the awareness is out there about PTSD and I mean PTSD is not just inclusive just to the military. I mean first responders. I mean even as a young child growing up in a terrible situation, you're going to witness some horrible things and you get PTSD from it. Where the military's very much stepped up in the last few years is they've brought it to lights and they're like, hey, you're stronger if you seek help, and now it's a sign of strength to, hey, you got some issues, that's totally fine. Let's get them fixed so it doesn't further, affect you down the road. So they've been very, like, even with myself and personal things, they've been like, nope, you're going to counseling, period.
They've done a 180.
Honestly,
They've done a complete 180, and the great thing about being in the military is we have the medical benefits, so it's covered. So a lot of people that aren't in the military and have experienced traumatic events, they don't have the insurance to go see a counselor, so they're kind of stuck to their own devices, and a lot of times becomes destructive. Where in the military, we have all of the resources available to us, and they force us, like, no, go fix yourself. And it's good now. So, and it's helped me out immensely with deployment-related issues and, my personal background with my ex-wife and the suicide and everything there. So, I mean, that was tough. So,
yeah, man, it's just life just keeps throwing you curveballs, Marcy.
right? Tell me about it.
I mean,
So-
I know you though, but you're a freaking outstanding guy, dude.
So it's been a interesting last 5 or 6 years for
Yes,
me with
it has.
being a single dad and all of those things.
It's an
And-
adjustment. It's quick.
right? So and dealing with mental health issues with my now. I don't even know what the word is when like divorced, but she's dead. Like it was. I don't
Yeah.
even know what the terminology
Passing.
is, but right. So and then having to have that conversation with my that time
Son.
5-year-old son.
Yeah.
It's I didn't have the words for it. So
you told me about that, and I
it's
was just couldn't even
right
insert myself into that situation,
And-
because it's just
and
it's
he's
just insane how.
Yep, young kid asks questions like, "Hey, where's mom at?" Da 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 da. da.
So
the
everybody
different things.
listening, real quick, let's elaborate because we know, so we kind of are leaving out a little bit here, but we're not going to cover the whole thing because it's personal. But do you mind if I?
No, not I don't know.
Chad's ex-wife ended up committing, and Chad had to talk to his boy and tell him he won't be able to see his mother anymore. And he had to go through and tell him that. And I don't know how many people out there have done that, but it is something that you just don't want to do ever
No.
to your kid.
Nope.
You don't want to
And-
tell them that you'll never be able to see one parent, not because you're being selfish and a jerk and they live on the other side of town, but because they're gone forever and you
Right.
will never have this relationship with them.
So and then and I had been in counseling for deployment related issues and then obviously seeking counseling for this. And a lot of the reason I was going to counseling at that time was to ask the counselor, what am I going to expect with my son growing up with this situation? And they bring him. And I had a phenomenal former neighbor that was in the field as well. And she had recommended somebody here in town that dealt with child psychology. So I was not in the room. The psychologist was like, let's one-on-one with me and him, and it's worked out phenomenally. So I was able to, I guess, get ahead of the problem.
Yeah.
Don't know if it was going to be a problem or not, but just to get ahead of it. So he, I don't know how 6-7-year-old boy thinks. Like, it's been a long time since I've been that kid, so
There's, I've had a gentleman on the podcast, and his father committed suicide. And I mean, yeah, it affected him later on. He didn't get help like right away. And I'm pretty sure if you get help firsthand, like right away, it'll help out a lot more than waiting till all the damage is already done.
Right.
And then you have to live with it throughout your life, and then you're just a ball of messes, So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where the military's really helped out. Is they're like, oh, hey, okay, so like when you get back from deployments, you go through. PHA is what we call it. Every branch of the service calls it something different, and I don't know what they did in the Air Force. You
What's
come home.
PHA?
They didn't have it when I was in.
Okay.
You came back, you filled out surveys. Most of the time, you lied about half the stuff that was on
because
there.
you wanted to go home.
You wanted to go home, and it was almost like it was their way of finding, okay, who's having the problem so we can out them out the door.
Right.
And so a lot of people just, nope, and boom, it was done, and then off to home you went.
Yep.
So they started doing something. Oh, it was probably, I think they really started doing things about 2 years after I got out, I think. That's when they
Okay.
it really started becoming, okay, here's problems, and we got to fix them. So,
Yeah.
and now it's great. Now they're really getting involved and really starting to push and get these guys to get help when they find them needing it and not degrading them for it.
yeah, that's good that the military is stepping up and doing that for the veterans and stuff, and not being like, you guys are bitches.
Right.
So it's good that things are changing around and we're getting to it. Chris, you got to be at the mall at 3, right?
Yes, we got about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
We can go. What's
going on?
being that you talk about that.
Hold on, real quick
So-
before we even talk about that. What is the 22 in mission?
All right, so Mission 22 was started in 2012 by a gentleman named Magnus Johnson, who him and a couple of his friends were special forces guys. I can't remember what they did, but they lost a very close brother to suicide. And for those of you who know about military, you got to have a mission. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a reason to be doing things and to keep going.
Yep.
And that's how they came out with the mission. They were on a mission to reduce the number of suicides that veterans were committing every day. And at that time, there was 22 veterans a day committing suicide, taking their own lives.
Damn.
So that's how they came out with Mission 22. It's gone down to as low as 19-20 suicides a day and 1 to 2 active duty suicides a day. Right now, it's actually gone back up. I think the last number I saw was 26 a day. It skyrocketed because
That's
of
not
the
good.
coronavirus. Because those who are struggling, you're already having issues with isolation, and then to not be able to go out and do things like a lot of people. I hike, for me personally. It's what gets me going, and I deal with a lot of people's stresses and things like that, and so it kind of wears me down over time. And to get over it and to get over my own issues, I go hike all the time. And people gave me a hard time about it. I'm like, there's no one around me. I'm not close to anybody, so it's what I can do. But there's some people in some areas where they weren't allowed to do that. And they weren't allowed to leave their house, and it just really started eating up on them more.
Yeah, that isolating is it is a mental. It's not mentally correct with any. I mean, even the ones that sit at home, they still have a way of socializing. So
Human conscience needs some kind of social interaction. If not, you're going to spin in a circle and go down a pretty bad hole.
Yep. So what's this?
And so
in the mall.
So I've got thousands of friends on Facebook, and a lot of them will reach out to me and tell me things that they're doing, and I get them to do different, go on hikes and do this and that. And there's one of my Facebook friends, her granddaughter was challenged to do 22 push-ups a day by her cousin, and so she started doing them. And then she found out about Mission 22, and she reached out to me and said, hey, my granddaughter's been doing 22 push-ups every day. She's going to do it for 22 days. And
How old is she?
She's 7 years old.
That's
7 years old. And I've seen 3 videos of this girl doing push-ups, and it's amazing. She doesn't give up. She sticks through it, through the whole 22 push-ups. Every day she reminds her mom or her grandma, hey, it's time for me to do push-ups. Get the camera out and film me, because she wants to record it every time she does it. So it's not them reminding her. She's like on top of it. And she's very dedicated to it. And her grandma told me she wanted to meet the guy who runs Mission 22 in South Dakota. So I told her, I was like, all right, they're doing a blood drive at the Rushmore Wall, and they're going to have the Mission 22 police vehicle there. So why don't we go ahead and meet there, and I'll give her a shirt, and she can see the police vehicle, because she had made a comment about that as well. And then started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? It'd be great to do the 22 push-ups with her right in front of the vehicle. And then I've got a lot of friends with the police department, and I reached out to them. I was like, hey, do you think you can get some of the officers and some of the firefighters here at the mall and do the 22 push-ups with her? So we had a bunch of police officers, firefighters, myself, some other ambassadors. We're all going to be there at 3 o'clock or just after 3. And she's going to show up, and we're going to do 22 push-ups with her leading the way. And then she's going to get a Mission 22 shirt and some other Mission 22 stuff. And
Did she have anybody who was affected, or she just wanted to?
her mom's actually in the National Guard.
Oh, nice.
And she's heard things, from what I was told, she's heard about things like that. And she's from what her mom said, she wants everyone to love each other, and she wants everyone to take care of each other, which is amazing. You know, she's huge
man.
into this world, making this world a better place. And it blew my mind. I told her, I was like, I got to do something for you. And so we have the news stations are going to come out and interview her and watch it and all that stuff. And it's going to be a really big thing. It's really awesome.
Well, I think I'm gonna head there too, and I'll record and we'll add it into this episode. So
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
so I think I'm gonna do that.
We're pretty stoked.
250. So better keep going. Chad, Mercy, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you,
National
Brandon.
Guard
Appreciate
recruiter. You want to plug anything?
Nope. We're good. No,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for talking about opening up.
Yeah,
talking
I
about
mean,
stuff.
it's
Hey, thanks for having me.
Tucker.
And you know,
Thank
for
you,
those
guys.
who are watching, if you're a veteran and you're struggling, reach out. My phone's on me 24/7. You can text or call me 605-858-8482. You can email me at chris@mission22.com, or if you got me on Facebook, just shoot me a Facebook message. But I'm always there to listen, no matter what or when or anything, you know. And honestly, you don't even have to be a veteran. If you're someone struggling and you need someone to listen, reach out to me. You know, your life is important. You're stronger than you think you are, and sometimes you may feel weak. You just got to focus on the positive things and keep moving forward.
Yeah, man.
There's no shame in getting help. My number is 602-909-9802. Anybody who needs help, you're more than welcome to contact me as well. It helps. It lifts a major burden off your shoulders, getting that out there and talking to somebody about it. It helped me. It helps a lot of people. There's no shame in getting a little extra help with somebody.
And
Yeah.
one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I have a lot of people asking about getting involved with Mission 22 or donating to Mission 22.
Yeah.
If you want to donate to Mission 22, just go to mission22.com, and there's a couple tabs that you push on, and you can donate to it. And if you want to get involved with Mission 22 and help veterans out who are struggling, it can be anybody, active, retired, veteran, guard, civilian, doesn't matter who you are. If you just want to help out the veterans, reach out to me, and I'll kind of talk to you some more about it, and we'll get you signed up. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having us.
guys. Awesome. Happy 4th of July. If you're drinking, be safe. Call a lift. I mean, if you end up running through the streets naked, RCPD is definitely going to get you.
careful with the fireworks. Don't blow a hand off, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, take it easy with the fireworks, too. Take it here, everybody.
Have a good
We'll
4th
see
of
you
July,
guys.
you
Happy
guys.
4th of July, guys.
Bye.
I was notified from one of my Facebook friends that her granddaughter was doing a 22 push-up challenge that her cousin had given. When it comes to needing help and needing someone, this community really comes together really, really well. And when it comes to taking care of their veterans, I think they do it